Let's get right into it. Number 9. The pilot who saved San Francisco. July 19, 1989. United Airlines Flight 232 is cruising when an explosion rips through the tail engine. All 3 hydraulic systems are destroyed. Captain Al Haynes tries everything. Nothing works. The flight manual says it is impossible to survive. But Haynes and an off-duty pilot named Dennis Fitch come up with a crazy idea. What if they steer using only the throttles? Increase left engine power, turn right. Increase right, turn left. It's like steering a car with just the gas pedal. For 44 minutes, they wrestle this crippled plane towards Sioux City, Iowa. When they hit the runway, it cartwheels and breaks apart. 111 people died, which is tragic. But 185 walked away from a plane that should have killed everyone. If it had crashed into San Francisco or Chicago, hundreds more would be dead. Haynes proved the impossible, and today pilots worldwide are trained in this technique. Number 8. The technicians who stopped a meltdown. Chernobyl had already exploded, but underneath was an even bigger problem. A massive pool of water sat under the melting reactor core. If that 2,000-degree core hit the water, it would create a steam explosion worth multiple nuclear bombs. Most of Europe would become uninhabitable. 3 technicians volunteered for a suicide mission. They waded through radioactive water up to their waist in pitch-black darkness. Their flashlights barely worked because radiation was killing the batteries. They found the valve and drained the water. Everyone thought they'd be dead in weeks. But here's the twist. They survived. 2 are still alive today. The 3rd lived to 65 and died of a heart attack, not radiation. They saved Europe with the world's most dangerous plumbing job. Number 7. The Submariner who said, "Narc." October 27, 1962. Soviet submarine B-59 is hiding in the Caribbean during the Cuban Missile Crisis. The air conditioning has failed. It's 120 degrees inside. Men are fainting. Then the Americans start dropping depth charges. The Soviets think World War III has started. The captain orders the launch of their nuclear torpedo. 1 torpedo with the power of Hiroshima. If it hits, the Americans retaliate and nuclear war begins. But launching required 3 officers to agree. The captain said yes. The political officer said yes. Vasily Archipov said no. He'd survived a nuclear accident months earlier and watched friends die from radiation. He convinced the captain to surface instead. We didn't know about this until 2002. Archipov died in 1998, never knowing historians would call him the man who saved the world. Number 6. The officer who ignored the machine. 1983. Lieutenant Colonel Stanislav Petrov is working night shift at a Soviet nuclear warning center. At 12:14 a.m., alarms scream. 5 American missiles are incoming. 100% certainty. The protocol says report it immediately for counterstrike. If he reports this, thousands of nukes fly both ways. Civilization ends. But something feels wrong. Why only 5 missiles? If America wanted war, they'd launch hundreds. The ground radar shows nothing. Only satellites see them. Petrov makes a decision. He reports it as a false alarm, betting civilization on his gut. Those next 15 minutes must have been torture. He was right. The system mistook sunlight on clouds for missiles. Instead of medals, he was punished for breaking protocol. When asked later, he said, "I didn't want to be responsible for World War III." Number 5. The botanist who fed the world. Norman Borlaug, a farm boy from Iowa who paid for college by wrestling, became humanity's weapon against starvation. By the 1960s, experts predicted hundreds of millions would starve in the coming decades. Countries like India and Pakistan faced collapse. Borlaug bred a super wheat, shorter, stronger, producing 3 times more grain. He worked like crazy, growing 2 crops a year instead of 1, speed-running plant evolution. In just a few years, wheat production in India and Pakistan doubled, then tripled. We went from everyone starving to too much food faster than a college degree. His work saved 1 billion people. When he won the Nobel Peace Prize in 1970, he was in a wheat field working. He thought the call was a prank. Most people have never heard of him. Number 4. The epidemiologist who eradicated a monster. Smallpox killed 3 out of 10 people it infected. In the 20th century alone, 300 million deaths. In 1966, D.A. Henderson decided to completely wipe it out. Everyone thought he was crazy. His plan was ring vaccination. Find 1 case, vaccinate everyone they contacted, trap the virus. His teams went everywhere. He even negotiated a ceasefire between India and Pakistan so vaccination teams could work in the border regions. They designed the bifurcated needle, a tiny fork that used less vaccine and needed no refrigeration. By 1977, the last case appeared in Somalia. Since 1978, 0 deaths. It's the only human disease ever completely erased from nature. Henderson turned a 3,000-year-old killer into history. Number 3. The investigator who found the pump handle. London, 1854. Over 127 people dropped dead from cholera in 1 week. Doctors thought diseases spread through bad air, so they walked around with handkerchiefs on their noses. John Snow didn't buy it. He made a map, marking every death with a dot. The dots clustered around one water pump on Broad Street. A nearby brewery had 0 deaths because workers drank beer, not water. When Snow told officials about contaminated water, they laughed. But he pushed until they removed the pump handle. Death stopped immediately. They found a baby's diaper had been washed in a cracked cesspit 3 feet from the well. 1 dirty diaper, 600 deaths. Snow invented epidemiology. Every disease outbreak traced today uses his method. Number 2, the doctor who washed his hands. Vienna, 1840s. There are 2 maternity wards in the city hospital. The one run by doctors has way more deaths than the one run by midwives. Women are literally begging not to be sent to the doctor's ward. Some women would rather give birth in the street than go to the hospital. The death rate in the doctor's ward is insane. Up to 30% of women are dying after giving birth. That's almost 1 in 3. A young doctor named Ignaz Semmelweis starts investigating why. He notices something disturbing. The doctors are doing autopsies in the morning, cutting up dead bodies to study them. Then they're going straight to the maternity ward to deliver babies. They're not washing their hands. They just wipe their bloody hands on their coats and move on to the next patient. The midwives aren't doing autopsies, so they're not carrying whatever's on those dead bodies. Semmelweis suggests something that seems obvious to us now. Maybe doctors should wash their hands after touching dead people and before delivering babies. He sets up bowls of chlorinated lime solution and forces his doctors to scrub their hands. The results are immediate. Deaths drop by 90%. You'd think everyone would celebrate this, right? Wrong. The other doctors are furious. They're offended at the suggestion that their hands are dirty. They're gentlemen. Gentlemen don't have dirty hands. Some doctors are so insulted that they refuse to wash. When Semmelweis kept pushing his hand-washing theory, they threw him out of the hospital. They literally fired the guy who figured out how to save lives because he hurt their feelings. Semmelweis became obsessed, angry, and possibly mentally ill from the rejection. He ended up in a mental asylum where, ironically, he died from an infected wound. The very thing he spent his life trying to prevent killed him. It wasn't until years later, when Louis Pasteur proved that germs actually exist, that people realized Semmelweis was right all along. Today, hand washing is the most basic thing in medicine. But this guy got thrown in an asylum for suggesting it. How many thousands of women died because doctors refused to wash their hands? Semmelweis could have saved them all if anyone had listened. Number 1, the man who unmasked the mosquito. It's 1897, and a British doctor named Ronald Ross is hunched over a microscope in India. He's been doing this for years, dissecting mosquito after mosquito, looking for something he's not even sure exists. His colleagues think he's absolutely crazy. They're saying he's wasting his time on bugs while people are dying from malaria all around him. Malaria is one of humanity's oldest killers. It's been murdering humans for thousands of years, but nobody knows what causes it. The popular theory is that it comes from bad air. Malaria literally means bad air in Italian. People think it's caused by swamp gases or poisonous fumes from rotting vegetation. Ross has already gone through over 1,000 mosquitoes, carefully slicing them open and examining their insides under his microscope. Nothing. Then, on August 20th, 1897, he dissected another mosquito, and this time, he sees something. There, in the mosquito's stomach wall, are these weird brown specks. He looks closer. They're not just specks. They're moving. They're alive. These are malaria parasites. Ross has just proven that mosquitoes aren't just annoying insects that buzz around and bite you. They're deadly carriers. They suck up malaria parasites from infected people. The parasites grow inside the mosquito, and then the mosquito injects them directly into the next person they bites. Before this discovery, people were fighting the wrong enemy. They thought malaria came from swamps, so they were trying to drain swamps and avoid bad smells. Imagine trying to stop a serial killer by arresting their getaway driver's mechanic. That's basically what doctors were doing. They were fighting swamp gas when they should have been fighting mosquitoes. Ross's discovery changed everything. Now we knew exactly what to fight. The mosquito. This led to mosquito nets, insecticides, and draining standing water where mosquitoes breed. His obsession with bugs saved millions of lives. And when he made the discovery, he was so excited, he wrote a poem about it. The poem was terrible. Seriously bad poetry. But when you've just figured out how to save millions of lives, you can write whatever poetry you want. Today, we're still fighting malaria using the knowledge Ross gave us. Every mosquito net that saves a child's life exists because one doctor refused to stop looking through his microscope. That's all for today. These 9 people changed the course of human history, and most of them you've never heard of. Subscribe to see more stories like these.